Hello. Welcome to the Create Structured Workflows with AI. I'm seeing that we are slowly connecting over to the LinkedIn stream. So I'll just give a few minutes as we get started. All right. So just getting the notification that we are good to go and live. Mark, have we got you there?
Yes, hello.
So welcome to our live stream today. We're going to be really getting into creating structured workflows with AI and how structured data and workflows work in the Ligantic platform. So a lot of content for us to cover. But before we jump all the way into the nitty gritty of that, I might jump into sharing who we've got on the screen today. So Mark, you're the CTO, co-founder, and technologist and systems builder here at Ligantic. I'll pop you up on the screen so we can all see you here and working. Thanks for joining me today.
Hello.
When we talk about creating structured workflows with AI, what sort of comes to mind? What are you hoping that anyone who joins us on this live today or watches the recording, hi to everyone in the future, what are you hoping they take away from it?
A bit of a deeper understanding of some of our foundational capabilities, like our schemas, and how they relate across to some of our other capabilities that we'll be sharing in some future events.
Well, I like it. You can join our marketing team. You've got some seeders of events coming up. That is probably something to say at the top of this, is that we do have a few live events that we're coming through. Really want to bring you on the journey, show you how the Ligantic system works, how you can jump onto the platform and build your own custom solutions right here. So for everyone who I don't know yet, I'm Stef, CEO and co-founder of Ligantic. You might notice Mark and I have the same last name. We are siblings. We've had a wonderful chance to both grow up and work together. Our first business together was when we were 5. This one is infinitely more scalable, but that was still a lot of fun back then. All right, so we do have a lot of content to cover today. We are going to be going fast. I do invite you to pop any questions that you've got down into the chat below, or if you're watching this on the recorded version, feel free to reach out, add a comment, and we'll make sure that we get all of those questions answered as we're going through. So what's on the agenda for today, Mark? We're going to be answering these 6 very important questions when it comes to structuring workflows with AI and using the data storing capabilities on Ligantic. So at the top, right at the top there, if I was to throw that over to you and go, what are schemas?
Yeah, so essentially schemas are one of our foundational capabilities, as we were mentioning before, and they essentially let you describe how you want to store your data. So they describe the shape of the data that you want to store. So if you're storing a contact record, then you would have a contact schema that lets you say what fields, what relationships exist within that, need to exist within that record, and how you need to store them.
All right. Well, that's pretty good. That's a pretty good explainer. But let's jump in, and I'll go straight into this is the space that we made last time, our CRM. It's a very light CRM. It's just got exactly what we need. But if I jump into over on this left-hand menu in the Ligantic platform, here's our contacts schema. And that's exactly what you were talking about just there, Mark. It's got all of the information about each of them. I'll jump into you there. Just sharing your email. Anyone who wants to email Mark, that's his direct line. But this has all of the fields that were shaped up on that schema. And if I go down here, you mentioned some relationships that are available.
Yeah, that's right. So relationships are essentially how you can connect your different schemas together. So on screen here, the contact has a relationship configured to go across to the event schema, the task schema, the organization schema, and the notes schema. So what that means is if you create a bunch of events, create a bunch of tasks, organizations, notes, if you want to associate this contact with those other pieces of data, then you can do so through these relationships.
So Mark, I did go in and create this event yesterday. So if I go to our events table over here, I can see we've got our create structured workflows with AI as an event. Very, very handy, very meta for us to be talking about that event in this one. So if I go into your contact and say, scroll down to this relationship down here, I can link you with that event. So that's going to say in my CRM, this contact attended this event.
Yeah, exactly.
Seems like a pretty simple functionality, but I imagine that, and I've seen that taking, it's events and attendees, but that can be really what you need to map out quite a complex data relationship graph. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. So you can build out some very sophisticated data structures that sort of connect all of the different types of data that you want to store and you want to understand, you want to build into the solution that you're actually creating. Yeah, you create that series of relationships, and based on those, you can leverage those relationships in different areas. So you might create an experience that for the event that lists all of the people that attended for an internal view of your events within your CRM, for example. So there's heaps of ways that you can use those relationships.
All right, I love it. So you're skipping ahead here. We've touched a little bit on what are schemas. We've touched a little bit around what are the relationships that are available in those. Let's go back to properties. I like to think of properties as the fields that we're going to fill in about a schema. But if I go into this cog here, I can go back to the settings page of the schema, so I can change the design. I know I'm noticing, Mark, I've got some information about you as a contact here, but one of the things I always like to know about people that I'm working with or have met is what's their coffee order or their beverage order, so that if I'm meeting up with them for a coffee, I can know what to order them. So I'm going to go through the process of showing how to add a property or add a field to this schema now. So if I click in this edit cog, we're going to be in the edit schema page. This has got all of the top level information about the schema. And if I just scroll down, you can see each of these properties match one of those field types. So the given name is a text type. I think most of the ones in this this schema are a text type. We do have a list of addresses that are available, and a yes/no checkbox in there, as well as some files that we can upload. So we have native file storage within these schemas. But I'm going to click this add property button, and I'm going to say preferred beverage, and then save that schema. It'll take me back to your contact record there, Mark. If I scroll down to the bottom, that's immediately got the preferred beverage. So soy latte, 1 sugar.
You don't need the CRM to remember that one, but it's good to store. Yeah,
that's it. So if we go back here, we are making great time. We've got number one, what are schemas? They're what you use to shape and store your data on the Ligantic platform. You're able to change the properties of a schema. So those properties are those fields, and they can be different types. And we've also got the functionality of having relationships. So two schemas, like a contact and an event, can be related there. what happens is if we're going into, let's go through the process of creating a schema. So if we go back to our space here, we've got contacts and events, some images and fonts, some opportunities, some organizations, some tasks. What else could we possibly want to have in here? I know I've got some marketing campaigns that I want to jump in. So I'm going to hit this plus just on the left-hand side and click new schema as an option. And boom, I'm in and creating a brand new schema here. So I can go down the manual creation route. So I could go in and create a name and add some properties one by one if I know exactly what I want to be building in there. But we also have some pretty good functionality of being able to generate or import schemas. This is great for when you're bringing data in from spreadsheets, from other systems, or coming in and generating them in from what you know it's going to come to life there. So I'm going to hit this one here. And I said I wanted to bring some marketing campaigns in. Mark, I have a spreadsheet that I have of this one. So I'm going to click, I could click any one of these imports, but I'm going to click the spreadsheet or the XLSX version, the spreadsheet, and choose that file.
Yeah, we might change the name of that one.
Grab that one there. And I can see of that spreadsheet here, I've got two sheets that have been identified. So I've got contacts and campaigns. It's got some information in it. And it's been able to detect the different columns that I have in that spreadsheet. So if I import that now and give that one a name, marketing campaigns, now I can scroll down and see that it's got pulled out the campaign names and the types. It's also identified in that spreadsheet, I had some fields that were always filled in and some fields that not for every row. And so it's pulled out those that are required and those that aren't, which is nice. It's pulled out the ones that are numbers. It's done a pretty good job, Mark. Now, there's probably two changes that I'll make here. And it's probably one of the things or the practical tips for structuring your data that I would always leave behind. In our description here, right now this is set to be a text box. I probably want that to be a content type. Our content types are like our rich text box. So you have the ability to add bold, list, and heading formats and things like that. So I'll change that so it can be a little bit more formatting there. And I'll do the same thing with our notes. So again, I'll likely have the ability to put some bullet notes in there. And so then when I'm ready, I create that schema. It automatically makes this link over here on the left-hand menu, and I can jump in and start populating out these marketing campaigns. How exciting. So I won't go through that process now. Oh, it's going to make sure I'm saving the data when I need to. But that's how quick and easy it is to create a schema, especially based off a spreadsheet that you've already got in your system and keeping those row columns in there. Mark, is there anything else we should be sharing about creating schemas?
Yeah, I mean that's the fundamentals of it. Yeah, as you saw from those other options on the import, we went through the process of the spreadsheet. But if you do already have, say, a JSON schema from another system that you want to bring in, and it's a particular data format that many systems export from, you can bring that in immediately here. You might just have data samples. So maybe you've got some system that's being integrated to, and you just want to sort of drop that in here. It'll do its best to attempt to sort of structure out a schema for you. And then you can, similar to what you just did, Steph, you can go through and refine it based on your needs. And then, yeah, similar to the spreadsheet, if you've just got a CSV and you've got some data in your clipboard, you can just paste it in here, and it'll do a similar thing as we saw with the spreadsheet.
Oh yeah. So we're able to import those very quickly. I also know the Ligantic schemas there, yes. So you can transfer schemas between different spaces. So if you have a structure that you really like in one, you can bring it to another very easily there. But I'm going to skip into what is number 4 on our list around the things that we wanted to take away is generating schemas with AI. So if I choose this final one here, one of the things that we've got is the ability to type in a prompt I'm going to use one of our sample prompts here, and you have the ability to change whether you want to use fast, standard, or most capable. I'm going to keep it at standard and generate that schema out. So what that's going to do, Mark, do you want to talk us through the process around what's happening there?
Yeah, so essentially it's taking that prompt that we've put in that schema description there. It's sending that across to some AI along with some additional information, telling the model about sort of the structures that it can use and the behaviors that it can output to structure out a schema. So as you see, it's just come back here. So it's been able to define what the name is, the display template, all of these different pieces around that particular suggestion.
So similar to all the things that AI ever touches in your workflows, you want to be able to go through and review them and make changes before you save them or publish them into the space. I'm looking at this and going, most of this is correct. I'm going to change organization to have an S. We hate Zs in Australia, but keeping the AU is one to watch out for. We've got this coming through. This is looking pretty good. From that perspective, I'm just going to go ahead and create that schema. And again, that's got this link over on the left-hand side. I'll jump in, and now I can see what that event registration would look like. Now, as I'm looking at this, Mark, I'm seeing that there's information that we've got stored in the contact schema. So what would we recommend instead of doubling up here? Is it worth having a link? What do you reckon here?
Yeah. So 100%, we can, instead of storing that data straight on this event registration, we can create a contact for that and then create a relationship across to that. And I think there's probably even some additional information in here about the event itself, perhaps maybe some fields in there where we can create a relationship across to that event rather than having it directly on anything here.
Okay, and so if we were to go in and make some relationships linking to this event registration, it sounds like we hit that cog to go into these edit settings, scroll down to the bottom, you can always close the properties up and create a relationship. So if I create a relationship from the event to the event registration.
Yeah, that sounds great.
And so if I just choose from event, we're going to have multiple registrations on a single event. So I can hit save on that one. Brilliant. And then I might create another relationship, which is from the contact to the event registration.
Yep.
And I won't allow multiple. Oh no, because they might.
Yeah, you might have a contact that goes to heaps of events. So yeah,
a frequent flyer at the events. Absolutely. All right. So now if I go to those, they're going to have a link associated between those two schemas.
And so we probably did gloss over that a bit too quickly there. If you hit the edit button on one of those relationships there, Steph, those checkboxes at the bottom where it says allow multiple from, allow multiple to, sometimes it can be a bit confusing, sort of some of the settings here, but essentially, as we've talked about just there, you may want to have many to many on both sides of a relationship. You might have a person who is attending many events, and for some reason, maybe you want to have one event registration for many people. But all of the controls here let you really fine tune exactly how you want that relationship to behave in different circumstances. So thought I'd just call that one out.
I love that. It's a good call out. Good call out there. And so you also had me step into here and see how you would edit a relationship, which is a good one. So you can just save that one there. If you ever needed to remove a relationship, that's also how you do it.
Now we have had a chat come through. Does generating schemas use credits? Yes, it does. So credits are essentially the currency that's used within our platform to do different things. So running flows, generating schemas, storing data, all of the different sort of pieces, sort of leverage that credits structure to assign those. And so yeah, when we did go through that process just now of generating that schema, it would have used a small amount of credits to actually generate that schema.
Brilliant. Always asking the great questions, Tristan. All right, I'll just make sure we're covering off on all of our points. I know we're nearing the end of our allocated time here. So we've covered what are schemas. They're how data is stored and shaped on the Ligantic platform. It's shaped through your properties and connected to other ones through relationships. You can create a schema through manually adding the fields and properties. You can import it from other locations like spreadsheets or JSON files or sample versions of it, or you can even generate a schema out with AI. Now, let's talk about importing and exporting data, because I think that's one of the core principles that we love to have on the Ligantic platform, is that your data can be imported and exported as you see fit, so that you can make it move, you can do the things you need to do, and you're completely empowered to run your system. So Mark, do you want to talk us through some of the ways that we can import and export data? And I can run the screen.
Yeah, for sure. So the first way is to just import the data directly from the schema screen. So in the top left here, in addition to the add button to just directly add one, you've got export and import. And so these buttons let you pull the data out of the system, as Stef was saying, very easily. And you can see there's a couple of checkboxes there to either include the ID, include the relationships. That's just a little bit of configuration information based on the shape that you want to come out of the system. And then, yeah, you can import again that same structured spreadsheet, and that will bring the data back into the system.
Now, if I just tried to import it now, it would be exactly the same, exactly the same data.
Yeah.
And so I can look to modify that whilst we talk through what would be another way that you could import data. So just to talk that through, we could export a CSV, and that's the format that it comes out in. You can then alter or add to that CSV and then import it, and it will add new records into this one.
Yeah, and that's that. If you hit that export button again, Steph, that's what that include IDs checkbox is about. If you uncheck that, it'll come out without the ID, so you're just getting the plain data. If you include the ID, then you'll be able to update the data and then re-import it, and it'll update those records in the system.
So I'm just to bring this one over here. I can see this is what the CSV export looks like. So I can go John Smith sample in that way. And then if I download this one as a CSV, then I'll be able to import that one in. And John Smith as a sample has been brought in there. So very quick way to be able to modify and alter around that. And because those IDs were included, it didn't multiply my Mark and Stef in the context forms there. So that's really good if the data's in the right shape or coming in that way. One of the other ways I know that we like to be able to show importing data is through flows. Now, this is not a flow session. So one of the other core capabilities that we've got on the Ligantic platform is running flows, which allows you to move and modify data in different ways. And so I know we've got a flow here that we made, which is importing contacts from XLSX, where if I create a new execution here and select a file, pretty sure I've got a marketing campaign. This is the same spreadsheet I used from before, but it's got that second sheet. I'll execute that one. And what that's done is, if I open up our contacts, it's added a few more contact elements in there. And if I go back to our flow and go in here, I can see that's just come through in this these few nodes here. So it's taken that information in and read the spreadsheet file.
Yeah, you might need
zoom
to
in.
zoom right all the way in. Yes, excellent.
So
yeah.
On our flow here, we've taken that incoming import of that file that I dropped in. We've read through each of the file bits and identified that sheet. And then we've mapped over for every row in that spreadsheet. We've pulled out the name, the given name, family name, email, and website of the contacts and created a brand new contact for us. So that simple flow has been able to run. If I go to our executions, it costs us a total of 12 credits. So very, very affordable data process there to be able to import and export that data.
To disambiguate, that's like 12 thousandths of a cent. So quite affordable.
Yeah, and if we look at the pricing structure, even from our free tier on the Ligantic platform, I don't even know how to do the math on how many of those you could do every month.
Lots.
Now, aware of the time, I think we've covered off on all of the elements in here around importing, exporting data. Mark, I'm going to leave you with, what's one practical tip you want to leave everyone with for how to think about structuring your data?
Yeah, one of the practical tips, and we did touch on it and sort of change a few things about that relationship setup with the event registrations schema that we created. It's about thinking about how you want to set up your relationships and how you want to split your schemas. So what I mean by that is the data really one schema, or is it two schemas with a relationship? And I find the easiest way to sort of make that determination is with sort of that which side might have many and potentially be related to other schemas as well. So if you have your event registration, like we saw, it had some information about what we consider to be a contact. So we should probably pull that out and put it in a contact because we know that contact is also going to be related across to some notes and related across to an organization. So yeah, it's thinking about, is that one schema or is it many schemas, and how do we want to set up those relationships?
Yeah, I love it. And hopefully today we were able to see and show how quick and easy it is to set up a schema and connect those relationships up. We're linking them together. Brilliant. I will continue to be able to answer any questions that drop into the comments. If you've got any queries around or follow-up questions around using schemas or how you'd want to structure it, please feel free to reach out. We did say at the top of this that we're going to be doing more of these events to cover some of the foundational capabilities on the Ligantic platform, as well as answering a lot of the questions that we're getting sent our way about the importance of how you structure your workflows and how you might use these things on Ligantic. So big thank you to everyone for joining us. Thank you to everyone who's watched the recording. And this was a lot of fun. See you next time.
See ya.